Get ready. Straight from the streets of LA.
Lower Alabama, that is.
We're talking SEC football, and that's all. This is AP and Kelly as we see it.
I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I said I'm all about that action.
I'm AP Stedham from LA, Lower Alabama.
And I'm Kelly Finley, journalist of more than 24 years, covering all things news and notes, sports and news, and of course, everything you can possibly think of when it comes to college football.
This is AP and Kelly as we see it, a syndicated weekly 1-hour show discussing the Southeastern Conference and always keeping an eye on the national college football scene and other sports. Hey, Kelly, how are you?
Hey, co-host, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. We're trying to look very pretty today. This is our first show on video. We're doing our best.
You're taking it up a notch. That's what leaders do. So it's always a pleasure to hear you and to see you. I know each week I always ask you, where are you? So physically, where are you today?
We're still in LA, Lower Alabama, but we'll be on the road this weekend and we'll discuss that as well. But looking forward to being on the video for the very first time. People can watch us on the YouTube channel at AP Stedham, and Kelly has the other relevant social media platforms as well.
That's right. I'm on the road, actually. I'm in the Motor City. Greetings from Detroit. Social media is a big deal. Social media really is our MVP, and is how we're able to take our show from one platform to the other. And that includes X, Instagram, and Facebook. All you need to do is go ahead and make sure you have those apps, of course, and then follow us. We'd love to hear from you, love to have you post some questions, and then we can ask those questions on your behalf, or AP can actually answer them because he's truly the Encyclopedia Britannica. You know that. You've been listening to the show.
Oh my. And Kelly, we have these sensational sponsors. We have a couple new ones this week to announce, but we depend on Greer's Groceries. They have Lucy's Recipes, so we're getting ready for that football season. You can count on her. She has all these terrific things right on the website of her recipes, delicious recipes. And Greer's Groceries, I always tell people when I'm in the store, I'll find something that I didn't anticipate. And when you're getting ready for these parties, these football parties, these special occasions, these birthdays, these celebrations, you can also click on the location of your choice, your favorite location, and that'll lead you to Groceries to Go, where you can order everything and they'll deliver it to you special. So we want to thank Greer's, one of our great sponsors. And remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. Kelly, go ahead.
AP, what people just heard you say is you go to the grocery store hungry and you put more items in your buggy because you want all the fans at the Stedham house to be very excited when they watch their favorite game. Got it.
Absolutely. And then we want to bring back our friends from Wind Creek. Kelly, you're going to love this, Kelly. The new players get free rebate of up to $1,000 based on the first day play. So stop by the players' services at any Alabama location at Moore, Montgomery, Wetumpka, and sign up for a rewards account. Mention you heard this ad on our show and give the code Kelly25.
Oh.
And you'll receive a $25 free play bonus.
Well, look, may I just add, when you mention Kelly, make sure it's with a Y. We Kellys with a Y. We have a lot of pride.
That's right. Kelly 25. Mentioned that. So that's really cool. I thought they mentioned your name in the promo. So that's really outstanding. And then Robertsdale Dental Care, they've been a supporter for us a long time, coming aboard for the football season. So we want to thank our three sponsors and looking forward to that support and collaboration throughout the season.
That's what it's all about, collaboration. Very excited to have our sponsors allow us to do what we do. When you see AP on the road, that's how he's able to. So continue to support the sponsors we mentioned, and of course, continue to support the show because we definitely appreciate both of your ears as you listen to the show, and eyeballs too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so since we're doing something new, we may as well do something new and take a look at the schedule coming our way this weekend. Very exciting. So if you've never watched, of course, if you've never listened to the show, I should say, we go through alphabetically the teams that you want to know a little bit more about, the teams you should keep your eyes on. And of course, the SEC has been bolstered with 2 additional teams. So I'm excited to get right to the list. You got your water, co-host? Because you're going to do a lot of talking.
I'm ready. I'm lubricated.
Oh my. All right. So Alabama is taking on WKU. This is a home game. Tell us more of what we need to know.
Right. Yeah. Western Kentucky, Kelly, they have a familiar name to us. TJ Finley, the big quarterback, 6'7", played at LSU and Auburn against Alabama. So Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, bringing him as a transfer. And of course, we have to start out the show with the word transfer.
That's the magical word. And he's a Finley word. Too. Come on,
and the Finley too. Come on. Oh yeah, we can't. We hit a double jackpot there. Double jackpot. But people are going to be looking for Kalen DeBoer, the new coach at Alabama. I'd say primarily all the eyes will be on Jalen Milroe, the quarterback. We know he can throw the deep ball. We've said that many times. How will this passing game size up? Will he be timely with his passes and have the precision for the short and intermediate routes? And then how will that new defense play under Kane Womack, the defensive coordinator, former head coach at the University of South Alabama? Alabama just a 32-point favorite, Kelly.
That's it?
That's it, 32-point favorite.
Well, so are you finding that more fans are watching the new coach, or are they watching Coach Saban watch the new coach? Because he clearly has a different role this season.
That seems to be a trend, Kelly. I find fascinating. But anyhow, we had a chance to speak to Kalen DeBoer yesterday during the SEC football coaches teleconference, and I asked him about the offensive line situation. And they're going to rotate the right tackle probably, Kelly. So they'll use 6 people up front, 5, 2 tackles, 2 guards, a center, but they're going to rotate probably at the right tackle position because that's not settled yet. So we did find out that yesterday from the head coach of Alabama.
Of course, you've got the intel. That's what you do very well. We're sticking with the A's. Arkansas taking on UAPB. And some people may not know what that stands for. Help them out, AP.
Right. Arkansas Pine Bluff. I believe they're HBCU school, Kelly. So what they're watching the new quarterback that transferred from Boise State under Bobby Petrino's tutelage as the offensive coordinator. He was the head coach at Arkansas at one time. He came back under Sam Pittman, the head coach, as the offensive coordinator. And Kelly, that game is so far-fetched that it's 49.5-point favorite, Arkansas.
Wow. Yeah. Now, did you notice that when we talked about the Alabama game, there's a Finley, and we're talking about UAPB in this game? I mean, we're taking over the SEC. They don't even know.
Right.
All right. So, and that's that game being played in Auburn.
That's Arkansas.
Yes. Or I'm sorry, that game being played in Arkansas.
Yes, A's to start the show.
I know. Let me get it together. All right, because I said Auburn because they're next on the block. Auburn taking on Alabama A&M. This is a big game, especially for those who root on Alabama A&M from a national coverage standpoint.
It's interesting because Auburn plays the in-state teams occasionally. Alabama will not. They will not. They haven't played an in-state team in 50, 60 years, Alabama, but Auburn will. So that's a game, Kelly, listed as NA. The line is not available because it'd be astronomical. So all eyes will be on Peyton Thorne, the quarterback who transferred from Penn State, and how he will produce with all these new receivers. We know they're going to be better, and I always call them the spoiler team. That's my position with Auburn right now because I think they've got enough people on the perimeter with these young freshmen and transfer wide receivers and the tight end, Rivaldo Fairweather. Great name, right? Rivaldo Fairweather. I think they're going to do.
Oh my goodness, he sounds like he's in the soap operas or something. Stories.
Right, right off the stage. Yeah, he'll be on the stage big time. He will be.
Right.
So I think Auburn offensively will be better. This is the second edition of Hugh Freeze in command of the Auburn Tigers. So look for them to put it on Alabama A&M.
Will you help our friends who are watching and listening understand how it's such a big get for the smaller schools when they play these big schools from a monetary standpoint?
Right. That money stays in state. Okay. You're not giving it to a team across the country. It's in state. It's regenerated throughout the state of Alabama. So I don't think Alabama will change, Kelly. I really don't. Auburn, like I said, they've been doing it for years, playing the in-state teams.
I'm looking forward to seeing all the, the X conversation, X formerly known as Twitter, and seeing all the back and forth because fans are excited, families are excited. And again, when you're able to see your loved one on a national stage, it gives you some bragging rights and it makes you, hey, it's a game. So surprises can happen. Surprises can
Absolutely.
happen. I'm looking forward to
Absolutely.
it. We're heading next door to Florida. Florida taking on Miami.
Big game within the state. Florida hosts the Gators, and Florida has that schedule that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, Kelly. So it's important for them to start off well because the naysayers will come on board saying if Billy Napier is going to last the rest of the season as the head coach. But Florida's facing Cam Ward with Miami transferred from Incarnate and Washington State. He's thrown for, I think, over 13,000 yards already in his career. So, he's a dynamite quarterback from Miami. Graham Mertz, the transfer last year from Wisconsin with Auburn. With Florida. I'm sorry, Florida. And they lost some players, transferred. But Graham Mertz is a good quarterback, over 70% completion. Tough battle for them. Miami is a 2.5-point favorite.
Gotcha. I'm glad you gave us that insight on both teams so we know who to watch out for and who is really working to keep their coach in place because that's the name of the game is a business. All right, we're headed up against our break. We've got some guests coming up.
Yeah, we have some guests. Our first guest is the retired Lieutenant General Rich Clark. He's the executive director of the college football playoff, named in November in the second segment. In the third segment, the returning captain who will now play center for the University of Southern California, Jonah Monheim. So that'll be segments 2 and 3. And we'll be right back after these messages with AP and Kelly as we see it.
Let the games begin at Wind Creek Casino, where new players get a free play rebate of up to $1,000 based on their first day's play. Just stop by Player Services at any Alabama location and sign up for a rewards account to get all the details. Mention you heard this ad on the radio and give the code Kelly25 and we'll throw in a $25 free play bonus. That's KELLY 25. Don't miss out on our new player promise, exclusively from Wind Creek. Minimum $75 loss required for free play rebate. Get full details at windcreek.com or see Player Services.
And we're back with AP and Kelly. As we see it in Kelly, we have a special guest that I had the pleasure of meeting in person in Dallas, Texas at the 2024 SEC Media Football Days. Retired Lieutenant General Rich Clark is the new executive director of the college football playoff. So I have to take my marching orders and call him by his first name, Rich. So, Rich, welcome to AP and Kelly. As we see it, delighted to have you with us.
Great to see you again, AP, and nice to meet you, Kelly.
You too as well, Rich. So excited to have you on the show, especially with all the movements that have happened since last season, including adding you to the roster.
That's a big movement for me, but I couldn't be more excited. So it's awesome.
Kelly, not only is he the executive director, but he played on a 12-1 Air Force team that finished 8th in one poll, the AP poll, and 5th in the football coaches poll, and they beat Texas, the new SEC, one of the new SEC teams in the Blue Bonnet Bowl. So he's experienced in the game of football, the game of life, the game of leadership. And so, Rich, we want to ask you your first impressions with being head of the college football playoff. What are some of the general thoughts that you like to tell people when you're around them and they're curious?
Well, the first thing I tell them is that I'm excited to be a part of this. I mean, I've been asked, was this a job you always dreamt of? And I say no, because I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know I had a shot at this. But now that I'm in it, it is a dream. I mean, I am a lifelong college football fan. Like you mentioned, AP, I was a player, and it's just a dream to be a part of this. But not just to be a part of it, but to be a part of it now, because this 12-team playoff is going to be spectacular. It's one of the biggest changes we've had. I told someone since the Ford Pass, it's the biggest change. They were like, come on now. But it's big, though, right? And yes. I think the reason I love it, and you kind of hinted at it, AP, when I was a player, our team might have been in this 12-team playoff.
Absolutely.
And I can't even tell you how exciting that would have been. And it would have been a life changer. So I'm excited to bring this to our student athletes and give them a chance, open up the aperture a little bit, and let some teams that, previously may not have had a chance to do this and to be a part of the playoff and compete for the championship. We get to bring this now to them. to the coaches, to the fans. It's just exciting.
What's something that seems complicated that maybe you could simplify today for the people exploring the 12-team playoff for the first time?
So that's a good question. Here's one thing, and this is I don't know if it's going to uncomplicate things or simplify, but the one thing
Yes.
that I'll say is that rankings and seeding are not the same. And here's why I say that. When the commissioners developed this playoff format, they had a couple things that they really wanted to value, and one of them was
Yes.
conference champions. And
Right.
so when we look at the rankings, you might think that number 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, they're going to be seeded accordingly. But the
Yes.
truth is, the first thing that'll happen in the bracket is the 5 top conference champions will be placed into the bracket, and then the next 7 ranked teams will be placed into the bracket. So that's something that people have to understand, because their team may be ranked number 4, but they won't be seeded number 4 because there'll be a conference champion in that seed. So people
Yes.
just have to keep in mind ranking and seeding aren't the same. And I had to kind of come to terms with that myself a little bit as we were
Yes.
talking about it. But I think that's one thing that'll be really helpful. And then as we go down the rank after we get the conference champions in, then it's all by ranking, So I think that would be one simplifying idea that might help people deal with it.
2 questions for you, Rich. When you did play, which position did you play?
Oh, so I played linebacker for 3 years, and then my senior year, the coach said, "All right, our nose guard graduated last year. We need a new nose guard." And I was pretty big for a nose guard. I only weighed like 225 or 230.
Oh my goodness.
But
Yeah.
at the Air Force Academy, that's a big nose guard. So
Uh-huh.
I played nose guard my senior year, and I ended up loving it. At first, it was kind of rough. You have
Uh,
these big old linemen beating up on you all the time. But then the he's like, "You got to move. You got to move. Don't let them get you, and you'll be okay." So it eventually became a great position for me.
So you know this game on both sides of the ball, and transition seems to be part of your story, being able to transition laterally from being, in uniform to now being a civilian. What are you looking most forward to?
Well, I'll be honest. The transition has been very smooth for me, and I get a lot of questions about, was it a hard transition from the military to civilian life, and what were the roadblocks or the bumps that you face? It couldn't be smoother, because I think for me, I've gone into something that I love, that I still feel passionate about, and when I was in the military, every day we thought about war. We thought about preparing for that conflict, making sure that our force was ready. We hoped that it wouldn't come, but if it did, we had to be ready for it. And if it did come, it would be among the worst days of America in America. Now every day I get up, I'm thinking about college football, and I think about getting ready for what's going to be the best days in America, and it's coming. It's coming, and it's going to be awesome. And so that transition in both cases, I get to think about something that I'm very passionate about, something that I think is going to make a big difference for our country, and really just being a part of something bigger than myself. So I'm excited. The transition has been awesome, and I'm just looking forward to transitioning further into it.
Rich, has any team designated a different site than their home field on campus? Because they had that option, but I read or heard that they had to designate that before the season started.
Yeah, so that's a great point, AP. So and what you're talking about is those first round campus games. So
Correct.
teams that are seeded 5 through 8 will play 9 through 12, and they'll be on campus. And I think those are going to be the most exciting
I think
games.
so.
It's going to be amazing for some of those campuses. It'll be the biggest game they've ever had at their campus. But it's going to be exciting. It's going to be electric. And we have been working with all 134 FBS teams so that if they're the team, that they have thought through what are we going to do. And some teams have had things like renovations in their stadium going
I
on,
see.
or other things that might prevent them from having a game in their stadium. And so they're coming back to us with what their contingency, their alternate plan would be. So a few teams have said, we won't be playing it on our campus, but it'll be, this alternate site or this location nearby, or what have you. So they've all pretty much all worked through what they would do in the event that they were that team. They were one of those teams that had a home game on campus.
3 minutes remain, Kelly.
Rich, on the collegefootballplayoff.com website, you said this is a, quote, exciting time for fans and everyone involved in this great game. I'm excited to be part of it and look forward to beginning my work. So what was it like when you received the call that they were interested in you to really join the roster, join the team?
Well, first, I couldn't believe it. And when they asked me first to put my name in that, because it was a search firm that approached me first, and they said, "Hey, they're doing interviews for the executive director, Bill Hancock, great man, great leader, and a founder of this whole program, and I'm indebted to him." But they asked me if I'd put my name in that, and they told me I was a long shot candidate. I was like, "Long shot? So what do you mean by that?" And I said, do I have a shot? He said, "Yeah, it's a long shot, but you got a shot." I was like, "Well, that's all I need to know. I got a chance. Let's do this." Went through the interviews, and then when they called me, I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I went through the interview thinking this would be good practice for me, to try to be ready for other interviews that I might have. And I got the job. My wife goes, "Why'd they hire you?" I was like, "Come on, honey."
Hey, a nose guard scored a touchdown. Right? A nose guard scored a touchdown.
That's right. I did. And so I honestly couldn't believe it. And now I really am living in a dream, because this CFP team that's here, that's actually executing this mission, I'll call it, is amazing. And I love being a part of this team and just being able to be a part of this new playoff format. It's going to be incredible.
Rich, we just have less than a minute. One thing that caught my eye, some of these teams that have a tradition of going to bowl games consecutive years, if they lose in that first round, they can't play in a bowl. Is that correct?
That's true. That's true. But I'll say that first round game is going to be like a bowl game, because the excitement that's going to bring, and just the opportunity, win or lose, to be in that playoff, right? To be among the 12 teams. That's rare air, that those folks are going to be in. So those athletes, any team that's in there should be really proud just to be among those 12. So I think whatever memories they have of their college career, that'll be a cap off, win or lose. But I wish them all luck, because I hope they enjoy it, and I hope they take every full advantage of it to be that national champion.
And new teams are going to play each other.
That's right. It's going to be different. We're going to see teams that we haven't seen before. So it's going to be amazing.
I was just going to ask, what would you say to your cadets at the U.S. Air Force Academy when they watch you in action in your new gig?
I'll say, hey guys, it's still me, still General Clark, but now I'm rich and I'm leading something else that's great. I got to lead greatness at the Air Force Academy. Now I'm leading greatness in college football, and I love it. I love being a part of this, just like I love being their superintendent. So excited to be here.
Thank you so much, retired Lieutenant General Rich Clark, new executive director of the College Football Playoff. And we'll be right back after these messages with AP and Kelly as we see it. Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
I'm AP Stedham with Dr. Jason Northcutt of Robertsdale Dental Care.
AP, not only do we offer basic full-service dental treatment, but I also have developed a niche within the practice where I provide comprehensive dental implant services, such as single implants, bone grafting, and full mouth reconstruction. I've been highly trained in those disciplines to offer comfortable and long-lasting solutions to major dental problems.
Come by and see Dr. Jason Northcutt at Robertsdale Dental Care.
And we're back with AP and Kelly as we see it. And Kelly, we want to welcome back one of our terrific sponsors, Robertsdale Dental Care, with Dr. Jason Northcutt. Not only does Dr. Jason Northcutt offer basic full-service dental treatment, but Dr. Northcutt has developed a niche for within the practice where he provides comprehensive dental implant services such as single implants, bone grafting, and a full mouth reconstruction. Dr. Jason Northcutt has been highly trained in those disciplines to offer comfortable and long-lasting solutions to major dental problems. Come by and see Dr. Jason Northcutt and his staff at Robertsdale Dental Care, 251-947-3636. And Kelly, we had the opportunity a few weeks ago to pre-record an interview with the returning captain of the University of Southern California Trojans, because they will be playing the LSU Tigers in Las Vegas this weekend. So we're going to listen to Jonah Monheim. He's a 6'5", 311 redshirt senior. He's played tackle 18 games, right tackle 18 games, left tackle 12 games, right guard 4 games. Now he's going to play center for the Trojans. So we had an excellent opportunity to visit with him, bright young man, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy the interview. And USC, they have a tremendous offense, and he's one of the focal points because he's snapping the ball to the quarterback, Kelly.
It sounds exciting, and it's something that all college football fans can really get their teeth in. See what I did with that? We went from Robertsdale Dental.
I like that. Oh, that's great. I love it. Dr. Northcutt, he's going to love you.
Lots to smile about.
Yes, lots to smile about. So, but anyway, Jonah Monheim is his name, and we're going to listen to him now with the interview that we recorded a few weeks ago. They're getting ready to play the LSU Tigers in Las Vegas. Jonah Monheim, captain, University of Southern California Trojans. Mm-hmm. Now, about your quarterback, Miller Moss, he had a sensational bowl game, a record 6 touchdowns. What do you like to tell people off the field about your quarterback?
Yeah, I've been fortunate to know Miller over the past couple of years and get to know him real well, both on and off the field. And just, I'd like other people to know how much of a hard worker he is, how much of a genuine, authentic person he is. And he's a very caring, good guy that's, done a great job of stepping into his role and becoming a leader for this team.
Slightly different for blocking Caleb Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner, was a dual threat quarterback. Miller Moss is more of a pocket passer. So how does that affect you and the offensive line collectively?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't change too much regarding our assignments. Our assignments are always to block as long as we can and as well as we can, regardless of the play call and who's a quarterback, who's a running back, whatever it may be. So at the end of the day, really our assignment and our expectations, aren't changed too much.
Mm-hmm. What are some of those intricacies that you have to learn to play the center position? And you seem like a person who could be a judge. You have that type of temperament.
Yeah, obviously moving closer to the middle of the line of scrimmage, as a center with the ball, just learning to snap and step. And then obviously, there's way less space compared to as you get wider on the line of scrimmage, like at offensive tackle. Everything happens much quicker, at the center position. So just making those adjustments of snapping and stepping and being as quick as possible and as efficient as possible, I'd say are kind of a couple of the key intricacies.
Mm-hmm. Jonah, how should someone coach you?
That's a great question. I think, I've had lots of different coaches over many different sports throughout my career. And I think there's certainly been a lot of different coaching strategies over those years. I think more important than the coaching strategy is the mindset of the player. You've got to be open to accepting coaching and you've got to be willing to learn and grow as a player, regardless of the coaching strategy.
Jonah, do you have some music you like to listen to in the locker room prior to the game?
I do, but I'd say it varies. I'm not always consistent with it. Some games I won't listen to music. Some games I will. Some games I'll kind of be a little slower. Maybe some country. Maybe some games I'll be a little more high tempo with some rock or some rap. So I'd say it's all over the place.
Right. What lends you to those different moods though for the games in the different music?
Yeah, I don't know. I think every setting is different. Obviously time of the day, maybe, how I'm feeling, how the team's feeling. Never know. Like I said, it really varies.
Yeah. You have an eclectic range of music that you prefer, it seems like.
Yeah. I think, I try to be broad in my music taste.
Mm-hmm. How has Lincoln Riley made you laugh during football practices? Has that ever happened? Has Coach Lincoln Riley or your line coach as well?
Yeah, it certainly happens here and there, both Coach Riley and Coach Henson. Obviously, we spend so much time being serious, but at the end of the day, we got to enjoy what we do. We got to love the game of football, and we got to love spending time with those around us. So I think they do a good job keeping that in perspective.
Lincoln Riley's offense, what would a center be asked to do in the run game specifically? Do you pull once in a while from the center position? How would you explain it to someone?
Yeah, you're asked to do a little bit of everything. Sure, you can pull at some points. We do a good job of running various schemes, whatever it is, whether gap, man, zone schemes, whatever it is. But ultimately, the biggest thing as a center in this offense is just telling the guys what to do with the mic points and everything like that.
Uh-huh. Jonah, you're in a huge media market. Do you like being in front of the camera and answering questions?
I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite thing to do in the world.
Right, right. Did you enjoy being in Indianapolis as a representative for USC at the Big Ten Media Days? And what was your experience like for you meeting some of the other players in the conference, a brand new conference?
Yeah, that was very cool. Obviously, it means a lot to represent, this team and this program and, all the people that have come before me. So that was certainly very cool. And to go to Indianapolis, as you said, and, become a member of the new conference for the first time and see some of the other teams and other players was certainly a cool moment.
Looking at the schedule at Michigan, one of the all-time winners in college football, you'd be playing Penn State at home, UCLA, your rival, at the Rose Bowl. Some of those games, they're so challenging for you. What do you think about your schedule? It's always tough at USC. Plus the annual coast to coast rivalry with Notre Dame.
Yeah, like you said, kind of comes with the territory of being at USC. We love those competitive matchups and all the rich, tradition that we get to be a part of.
Yeah. What anything you'd like to say to people about, you're changing the position, the USC football team? Let's, for instance, I know the defense. You have the new coordinator coming over from UCLA. What has happened during practice, and have you seen that some transformation of that side of the ball?
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, with new coaches and a new scheme, there's obviously a big difference comparing to years past. But it's been good. I think the defense has done a good job of taking those installs and coming out there and playing fast and competing. And it's been good to go against every day. Making each other better. Yeah.
What have you heard about playing an SEC team from some people you might know in college football? Maybe some of your friends. Maybe you know some people on some SEC teams.
Yeah, I think what I've heard is the general consensus. It's physical, it's tough football, it's good atmospheres, and it's passionate fan bases.
Mm-hmm. Do you like the facial hair that you have so far? I mean, is that something that you started growing a long time ago, or is that something new for you?
I mean, it's relatively new. Probably, it's been a few years with it, but prior to that, I never really had any facial hair. Growing up or anything like that. So yeah.
Yeah. What led you to that decision?
I think actually a few years ago, just camp is what started it. Obviously, we had football camp and just never really had time. I was never really looking in the mirror. I was never really thinking of shaving or anything like that. And at the end of it, it'd been 3-4 weeks by the time camp was over, and I was like, all right, well, I'll leave a little bit of it.
Looks good, Jonah. Jonah, some offensive lines, you're welcome. Some offensive lines have a name. Do y'all have a name for your group?
Yeah, the Trojan Wall.
The Trojan Wall. Is that in the history of the program, or y'all just came up with that in the last year or so?
Yeah, more of a new thing, with us and Coach Henson.
Did y'all come up with that collectively, or somebody had an idea, or the coach had an idea? Who came up with the name?
I don't remember exactly who came up with it, but yeah, it started 2 years ago.
Looking forward to playing at the Pro Stadium in Las Vegas against LSU. Is that something that you're going to, cherish?
Yeah, obviously it was very cool to play there 2 years ago. So, it's a good atmosphere and definitely looking forward to playing there again.
That hot weather in Las Vegas, slightly different from Los Angeles, I guess. Maybe the time of day, the game is maybe around 4 or 4:30, I think it's right now. Is that going to be a little bit of a difference for you playing in Las Vegas versus Los Angeles, and you're up to the challenge?
I mean, I think ultimately, you can't be defined by the circumstances, especially playing in an arena. It is an arena with a dome. So, I don't think that's something we're looking into too heavily. And if it is a hot day, then it is what it is, and we can't let that define, how we're feeling and how we're playing.
Last word for our guest, Jonah Monheim, the captain, returning captain, University of Southern California Trojans. Last word, Jonah. 2 words, right?
Yes, sir. Fight on.
There we go. Thank you, Jonah. Really appreciate it. And this is AP and Kelly as we see it, and we'll be back after these messages.
Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greer's.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it.
And we are back. Welcome back to AP and Kelly as we see it. We're entering our last segment, but of course, we do want to thank our guests and one more time acknowledge our sponsors. AP?
Yes, Kelly, we want to thank a retired Lieutenant General Rich Clark, the Executive Director of the College Football Playoff, and the returning captain for the University of Southern California Trojans, Jonah Monheim. Thank you very much. And of course, our 3 sponsors today, Greer's Groceries. Remember that they have the Labor Day savings, so check them out and get ready for those football games. And then Wind Creek, and like I say, the new players, check in at the desk in the 3 locations and tell them you heard this show. Kelly 25 for that $25 reward. And then we want to thank Robertsdale Dental Care as well.
P.S. Kelly is beyond 25, but I digress. All right, so we're getting back to our teams. We're doing alphabetical order. This is the best way we can keep up. And we are right now looking at Georgia taking on Clemson. What do we need to know?
Yeah, Georgia and Clemson, 2 rivals, 70 miles apart, played many, many times, 60 or 70 times through the history. Clemson will be better because they have some improvement at the wide receiver position with Cade Klubnik, their quarterback. He's very capable. Georgia might not have some players. Trevor Etienne, the transfer from Florida running back, might be out because of some violations of team rules. But Georgia has Carson Beck, the quarterback, who led them on all those victories last year. So big ball game. Right now, we have Georgia is a favorite in that game. I think they'll probably win, Kelly. I really do. I have it listed down here as 13.5, actually.
All right. Well, we got to keep an eye on those off the field issues because that will bleed into the game because these are young men. This is a business, but at the same time, You got to keep your business in check, in the classroom and off the field as well. Kentucky taking on Southern Miss.
Southern Miss, Kentucky, 28-point favorite in Lexington. Kentucky, we're waiting. We can't wait for the play of Vandegrift, the quarterback who transferred from Georgia, and he's a capable quarterback, National Quarterback Club Player of the Year coming out of high school, had to sit on the bench behind Carson Beck. All eyes will be on that Kentucky quarterback, Kelly, in that offense with those receivers now who are juniors. They need to be more consistent.
Hopefully everybody got their, their summer workouts in. Their off season becomes the in season, and that's how big plays are made. I know as we're moving and grooving, you've already mentioned the word transfer, but something that is also swirling around us is NA. NA when it comes to teams and points. What say you?
Right. Of the games in the SEC this week, 16 games, 10 of them are 21 points or more. And as far as the not available lines, we have 1, 2, 3 games 4 games you can't even get a line. You can't even get a point spread because they're so powerful. So that's quite a few games. 10 games, 21 points or more. SEC teams are favored.
Do you ever remember a season like this?
It's probably happens, but not as much moving forward, I don't think, because people are scheduling better. I believe that's going to happen.
All right, so let's continue to move forward with our list. LSU taking on Southern Cal. This is in Vegas, baby, and it is on Labor Day.
Labor Day, Sunday night, 6:30 Central. I'll be there covering that game, Kelly, in Las Vegas. The LSU Tigers and USC only played twice in their history. Both won at they won in Baton Rouge, the Trojans, and the LSU won in Los Angeles. So, and that was a long time ago when they played in the late 70s and 80s. So rarely do they get together. You have to watch the quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier for LSU, did very, very well in their bowl game. And he had over 300 yards, come from behind victory. Also, the quarterback at USC, 6 touchdowns in the bowl game, Kelly. And they're both replacing Heisman Trophy quarterbacks. Think about that. That hasn't happened in history very often. Two
My
Heisman Trophy
goodness.
quarterbacks leaving, and they're both playing each other this year, those two teams. So LSU is a 4.5-point favorite out in Las Vegas. And
They've
I
got
don't think defense is on the small D side at this point, because those defenses were horrendous last year, both of them. But new
Well,
coordinators.
both of the QBs have some big cleats to fill, but I tell you, I put my money on my co-host. Vegas, baby. Vegas indeed. How about Ole Miss taking on Furman?
Yeah, Ole Miss, that's an NA game, no line available. So Ole Miss has a high-powered offense, best receivers probably in the conference. Jackson Dart's been there now. I think this is his third year, the transfer from USC under Lane Kiffin's tutelage. So Ole Miss, people are looking for them to make the playoff. This is Ole Miss's year. If it doesn't happen now, Kelly, with Lane Kiffin, all the people he's bringing in for the defense to make them better, we know he has offense, but defensively, he has to do something on that side. So this has to be Ole Miss's year.
All right, all that winning times and ways are brewing, but will they produce? We've got to wait till that clock gets started, right? Mississippi State taking on Eastern Kentucky.
Another NA game, no line available. Mississippi State, brand new coach Jeff Lebby has the quarterback transfer from Baylor, Mississippi State. So he's an offensive guru per se. So they'll be watching that offense and what he might bring to this team. Mississippi State has always had the athletes, Kelly. Maybe not the best group of receivers from time to time, but I think Jeff Lebby, he'll probably do some nice things for them offensively in his first year.
All righty. Moving right along on our list. This is one of your favorites to talk about. I know this.
Yes.
Missouri and Murray State. Missouri
State.
Mizzou. Yes.
Mizzou. Kelly, they play Thursday night against Missouri State. 47.5-point favorite with our main man, Luther Burden the third. and his quarterback.
I have told more people about Luther and why it is you need to keep your eye on this young man. Just phenomenal.
Yeah, that's one of the teams I like, Missouri this year, Kelly. I like them.
Oh, okay. Oklahoma taking on Temple. And of course, some who may be new to the conversation will say, Oklahoma, SEC, what in the world?
Right. Oklahoma, we're here to stay, right? They got the Broadway play, that great song. 42.5-point favorite. Oklahoma is, Kelly. And Kelly, another thing, they're playing on Friday night against Temple. So the Temple Owls come to Norman. Yeah. So Jackson Arnold, the quarterback, very talented, a little bit turnover prone. We're going to find out about him this year. He has the full command of the offense. Their quarterback transferred to Oregon. So Jackson Arnold, look for big things from him.
So Friday Night Lights is a little different when it comes to this game. The big boys are stepping on the field. All right. South Carolina and Old Dominion. Who do you think is coming out on top on this one?
Yeah, 21-point favorite, South Carolina. They need to get that offense going under the dual threat Lenora Sellers. And we know Robbie Ashford, the transfer from Auburn, is also available at the quarterback position. So South Carolina looking to improve on offense and defense. Special teams, I think, was pretty good last year under Shane Beamer. So 21-point favorite at home. Let's get going, Gamecocks.
Oh, there you go. So I think that we need to have a buzzer or a button or something, because you have already said transfer at least 6 times. I mean, that is the theme indeed. Tennessee and Chattanooga.
Okay, Kelly. Nico Iamaleava. That's the quarterback for Tennessee.
You did that.
Kelly, you got to stand up when you do that. That took
no
me a
way.
while.
Look, I'll raise the roof. I'll raise the roof for you.
There we go. Appreciate it, Kelly. Yeah, he's a very good quarterback, big quarterback, 6'5" or so. He's going to bring some tremendous skills to that position for Tennessee. They have the wide receivers led by Brew McCoy. Brew transferred from USC in Texas, and he's a stalwart there. He's healthy now. So Tennessee be good on defense. They got the defensive end, can get to the quarterback. So Tennessee playing at home, and that is another NA game. No line available.
Gotcha. Glad you hipped us to what that means, because we're hearing it more and more. Moving on down the list, Texas is taking on Colorado State. Who's got the edge in this one?
Yeah, Texas and Colorado State. I mean, only a 32-point favorite once again. Texas entering
Wow.
the SEC with Quinn Ewers, the transfer quarterback from Ohio State. He's from Texas. So Steve Sarkisian, remember, won 10 games for the first time last year as the head coach, got his team to the semifinal where they defeated by Washington, and Kalen DeBoer was the head coach there. So Texas looking for big things from them. Their fans, Kelly, you know that they're always thinking we're on third base. We just got to get to home, but it doesn't work that way. You got to concentrate on all these games and all these teams. So
That's
the
right.
Longhorns looking to get back in that playoff, the 12-team playoff. They'll be very disappointed if they're not, Kelly, because they're one of the two favorites to be in that SEC championship game along with Georgia.
Got 2 minutes left in the show. Texas A&M taking on Notre Dame.
Big game. Riley Leonard from Fairhope High School right here in Alabama is the new Notre Dame quarterback transferring from Duke. But, oh, by the way, his head coach at Duke, Mike Elko, he moved over to Texas A&M. So what are the chances? What are the chances, Kelly? The head coach moves to A&M and his quarterback moves to Notre Dame, and they're playing each other in College Station. Okay, so that's going to be a huge game for the Aggies. Notre Dame looking to get back in the playoffs. 3.5 point favorite, Texas A&M. Their quarterback, Wiggman, he has to stay healthy. You know, he's been injured, but he's had some good stats, but he hasn't been healthy. You got to be on the field, Kelly. So
this is going to be a personal one indeed, because those personal connections. 30 seconds left. Vandy and Virginia Tech. Yeah,
Vandy and Virginia Tech. We spoke to the Vanderbilt coach. Look for Nate Johnson, transferred from Utah, very athletic and dynamic at the quarterback position. Even though 4 people are competing, the head coach said Clark Lee, but I think Nate's going to take command of that position to start the season and moving forward.
I think the Commanders are going to be in step, just like, I should say the Commodores are going to be in step, just like the singing group. I think they got it. Indeed. Hey, great show. Hey, great show, and especially a great first show from a visual standpoint. We appreciate our producers indeed.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we'll be back next week with AP and Kelly as we see it. And check our YouTube channel, our social media platforms. And we can't wait to start this college football season with the SEC.